good day, and welcome to Throwing It Back with Sean Farrell. I am Sean Farrell. God is great all the time. All the time, God is great. And let's not waste no time, okay? So, Allan Houston, he was nicknamed H2O, which is a fitting nickname for Allan Houston. He was Kentucky's Mr. Basketball in 1989 in high school. He committed to play for Louisville, but his father had accepted a head coaching job at the University of Tennessee. So he switched from Louisville to Tennessee. Okay. And so he started day one, and he averaged 20 points per game, and he put up 43 points, 11 assists in a loss versus LSU that had Shaq and Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf at that time. He was named Chris Jackson, but eventually changed his name. He shot 43% from three, but Tennessee had one of the worst defenses in the nation, ranking 261st in defense. Nonetheless, he was a SEC all freshman and was all SEC. Okay. And so the Vols were not good during his time, during Allan Houston's time. 1 year they finished 12-22. But Houston put up nearly 24 points, first team all SEC. And Tennessee actually went to the NIT in 1992. Okay. 1993, 22.5 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists, first team all SEC. Never missed a game in his 4 years with the Tennessee Vols. Played in all 128 games. And so he was the 11th pick by the Pistons, who had been declining ever since their last championship in 1990. They were 50-32 in 91, 48-34 in 1992. Then they fell to 40-42 in 1993. Okay, so they brought in some new faces. Dennis Rodman had been traded, but they still had Bill Laimbeer. They still had Isaiah Thomas. They still had the old Wiley veteran Joe Dumars. And they brought in these fresh faces, Sean Elliott, Allan Houston. In addition to that, they drafted Lindsey Hunter too. But Bill Laimbeer retired 11 games into the season. So Allan Houston did get a chance to play with Bill Laimbeer just very briefly. Thomas played in only 58 games that year. Tore his Achilles tendon last game of the season against the Orlando Magic. Retired the next day. And so all of that added up to a 20-62 record. Houston played in 79 games, shot 40.5%, and was somewhat limited by a wrist injury, and he averaged only 8.5 points his rookie season. Okay, so 1995 in comes Grant Hill, and he was a part-time starter. Allan Houston started 39 of 76 games. He averaged 14.5 points per game. And the three-point line, which was 23 feet, was moved back to 22 feet. Okay? So then Allan Houston shot over 42% from three. And let's see. So he started out the season, first half of the season, averaging a little over 8 points. The 94-95 season. Then he proceeded to average a little over 83, which brought his average up to 20, which brought his average up to 14.5 points per game for the season. Okay. So Doug Collins comes in. Then he upped his scoring average to 19.5 points. Okay. Detroit didn't have a pretty good offense, but they did rank second in defense in 1996. And the Pistons went 46-36. And Houston averaged 25 points per game in the 3-game loss to the Orlando Magic. And he had his series high of 33 in Game 3. Okay. Then his contract was up with Detroit. Okay. His contract was up. And then the Pistons were trying to acquire Dikembe Mutombo, who was a free agent. Okay. So they wanted to get Mutombo first and then negotiate with Houston. But then the New York Knicks came in. The New York Knicks came in and offered him a contract. And Houston took it, okay? Which completely surprised the Pistons. It was said that Houston did not get along with Doug Collins. There were some reports that Houston didn't get along with Grant Hill, which I don't think were true. Nonetheless, he was with New York, who still had Oakley, Starks, and Ewing. Then you add Allan Houston. Then you add Larry Johnson as well. Then you add veteran guys like Buck Williams. And you had the veteran Herb Williams. New York went 57-25 that year. He started 81 games that year. Played and started in 81 games. Had 28 points against the Toronto Raptors on opening night. Got slowed by a wrist injury. But still, averaged about close to 15 points a game. Played well in the playoffs. In a 3-game sweep of the Charlotte Hornets. Then against the Heat. Of course, he was a big factor in them going up 3-1. Then the fight happened in Game 5, and not only did that change the tenor of the series, but changed the tenor of the Heat-Knicks rivalry. Patrick Ewing broke his wrist in Milwaukee during the 98 season. I still remember that. They threw Ewing a lob. They threw Ewing a lob, and Ewing just let out one of the loudest I've ever heard. Okay. Now you know when you yell like that, you really broke something. Ooh-wee. I still remember that, man. But Ewing was injured. Missed most of the season with a wrist injury. Nonetheless, the Knicks went 43-39. Houston stepped up, averaging 18.5 points per game. And he averaged, and in the pivotal Game 5 of the first round series versus the Miami Heat, he had 30 points in Game 5. And the Knicks won pretty easily, 98-81. Okay. So the lockout season, Ewing was injured, had tendonitis in his Achilles, okay, for most of the year. So Houston averaged 18 points per her game. Ewing 16.3. Newly acquired Latrell Sprewell averaged about 18 a game coming off the bench. And the Knicks made it all the way to the NBA Finals. Of course, everybody remembers Houston's game winner that defeated the Miami Heat. And if you noticed, it was 0.8 seconds left, okay? And 0.8 seconds means a catch and shoot, okay? But when Miami inbounded the ball, okay? When Miami inbounded the ball, Terry Porter took one dribble and got a shot off. And Jeff Van Gundy was absolutely livid. Porter missed. Terry Porter missed, okay? But Jeff Van Gundy was livid because Terry Porter got a dribble in and then took the shot. Okay. So, yeah. Nonetheless, they defeated the Heat, Hawks, and Pacers to get to the finals. And Houston had one of his best games when he scored 34 in Game 1 against the Hawks in the second round after the Knicks swept the Hawks. So along comes 99 to 2000. It was mainly Latrell Sprewell and Allan Houston. It was Spree and Houston's team. They played in all 82 games. Houston averaged 17.5 points per game. And he was voted to his first All-Star game that year. And Jeff Van Gundy was the coach for the Eastern All-Stars as well. So Sprewell and Houston made the All-Star team. They lost to the Pacers in 6 games. Who did they defeat along the way? The Miami Heat in 7 games. So they come back for 2001. Ewing has been traded to Seattle. They traded Glenn Rice to Ewing is in Seattle. Glenn Rice had been traded from the Lakers to the Knicks. Okay. And so New York again had the top ranked defense, number 1 in the NBA, but the Knicks were bad on offense. Nonetheless, Allan Houston averaged 19.7 points per game and nearly 21 points a game in the playoffs versus the Toronto Raptors. And Allan Houston was again an all-star along with Latrell Sprewell. And so they lost a pivotal Game 5 in New York to Toronto 93-89. Who, ironically, the Toronto Raptors traded for Chris Childs mid-season. So Chris Childs came back and defeated his former team in Game 5. So 2002 comes. The Knicks started 10-9. Then Van Gundy unexpectedly quit. I remember reading that in the paper. Like, huh? Nonetheless, Marcus Camby was injured, played in only 29 games that year. Houston was pretty good, 20.4 points per her game. But the Knicks finished 32-50. So before the 2003 season, Latrell Sprewell, there was a rift between Knicks and Latrell Sprewell. Allan Houston had signed a 7-year extension before the season had started. And I don't think Latrell Sprewell was necessarily mad at Allan Houston. I don't think Sprewell was necessarily mad at Allan Houston. I think he was upset at Knicks management. Okay, but Houston had back-to-back All-Star games and had a solid 0-2 season. So Sprewell claimed he broke his hand on his boat, but it just became a messy situation, and Sprewell was gone by the end of the year. Nonetheless, Houston averaged 22.5, and he had his career high of 53 in a win over the Lakers in 2003. Okay, so Sprewell is in Minnesota for 2004. Allan Houston scores 31 points on opening night, but then his season ended several weeks before the playoffs were set to begin. They had acquired Stephon Marbury midseason, and they finished 39-43. Got swept by the Knicks. Got swept by the Nets in the first round. In 2005, he played 20 games before being injured. He started having knee issues. This is when he started having knee issues during the 2004 season. And he averaged close to 12 points per game. And then the Knicks were going to use the amnesty clause when Houston had 2 years left on his deal, which became the Allan Houston rule. Okay. And so his knees were hurt bad, and he decided he needed to retire. He did make a brief comeback. With the Knicks, but got cut, and so his career was officially over. But Allan Houston was pretty underrated. He had knee issues later on in his career. Continued to play through those knee pains. Never complained one iota. And maybe because he was a man of God. Okay. No, Allan Houston is a devout Christian. So whenever you have God on your whole side, man, you can overcome anything, including the pain. Okay. But yeah, Allan Houston. Salute. All right. That's it. That's all. Thank you for watching Throwing It Back with Sean Farrell. I am Sean Farrell. May God bless you all. Peace. I'm out of here.